This is the Aftermarket Radio Network. Hey, are hairdressers the new untapped resource for our industry? How does a hairdresser in San Francisco become an automotive shop owner in Las Vegas? And what can we learn from the intimacy between a hairdresser and the client? From the Aftermarket Radio Network, Carm Capriato here, and I'm with Danielle Vila at the 2022 Elite Invitational. Now stay tuned. You won't want to miss this episode. Trust me, you're going to love this. We discuss business, hair care tips, and a few laughs in between. Thanks to our sponsors, Apex and Shopware, for providing you this episode. Imagine walking into a simulated real-world shop environment with 10 bays, lifts, and vehicles where you can see product demos and talk capabilities, benefits, and how to use in real time. Welcome to Joe's Garage at Apex 2022, November 1st through the 3rd in Las Vegas. Now to register, visit aapexshow.com/register. Remember to also make your hotel accommodations on the Apex website, aapexshow.com. Hey, do you want to grow your car count a little higher? I'm sure you do. Or maybe you're dreaming bigger and want to open one more shop. Well, trust Shopware to provide the system that you've been waiting for to make it happen. Please talk to my friends at getshopware.com. Hey, welcome, everyone. We're sitting in a hotel room, believe it or not, in the Westin in San Diego. I'd never been to San Diego before. We were invited out here by Elite Worldwide in their Elite Invitational. And we have just gone through just 1.5 hour of introductory remarks from Bob Cooper. I just can't wait to get back down on the floor and participate in all the great things that is planned for the next 2 days. But we have a chance to carve out some time and do some interviews. You know, that's what I do for a living. And that's why we're here with Danielle Vila from Red Rock Repair, Las Vegas. Now, you're a client of Darren Barney's.
I am.
And Darren voluntold you to be here.
That he did.
You got a great story, and I can't wait to get to it. What brings you here to the Elite Invitational?
Again, Elite in general, and Darren, when we started working with them about 3 years ago after we purchased our shop and had the most harrowing small business experience to us, we knew we needed help, and I came across Elite's advertisement in Ratchet and Wrench magazine and started the conversation of we need to bring somebody in to help teach us how to do this. We started working with them. It was 3 years ago now, I think, maybe 2.5. And it's completely transformed our lives, transformed our business, taught me personally a lot about what issues the industry faces, how we as shop owners are tasked with trying to change this and trying to evolve, but also working with some of the most incredible people, not auto shop owners, just business owners and people, and who share the same kind of ethics and values that we personally had in an industry that isn't known for having strong ethics and values.
You bring up such a great point. It was amazing to see all the people here at breakfast this morning that I've interviewed, and so many that I know and so many that I want to get to know. This is going to be just an incredible experience for the podcast in general, long term. Danielle has a very interesting story, and that's why you're here and you're listening. Hopefully the title drew you into this. Danielle was a hairdresser and now she's a shop owner, and there's an interesting story that goes behind this. This isn't fluff. This is the real human condition here. And by the way, Tracy's here with us.
Hello, everybody.
And just in case you hear the peanut gallery chime in, of course, my daughter, who is my director of content producer. Thanks for being here with us, Tracy. So you were a hairdresser and you finally just said, there's just got to be something different.
Yes. I started doing hair in San Francisco back in kind of early to mid 2000s. My husband and I were living in San Francisco, and he was involved in a motorcycle accident, a dirt bike accident where he was paralyzed. And it was just extremely challenging to live there. And, you know, everybody that lives in California long term knows how drastically and dramatically the state has changed, especially with my husband and the challenges that he faced just, you know, being disabled and living in a city like San Francisco. We knew we wanted out. And when we started talking about selling our house, where do we go? Las Vegas was really the only option for us. The warm weather, it's beautiful town. You know, it's a big city in a very small town feel. And so we sold our house. We moved to Las Vegas. I was continuing to do hair, built a clientele there, and just started to get kind of burnt out on doing hair, and worked one-on-one, rented a booth, essentially, or a studio. And it's an extremely close, confined space where you cannot help but build relationships with your clients, and they turn into friends. Just remember coming home emotionally exhausted every day. My husband and I, Sean and I, started talking about buying a business and what do we want to do. And Sean is brilliant, and he is the utmost gearhead of all. And he only wanted to have a shop because that was what he knew. And I was like, I don't really care. I just want to work with you. I have a really amazing client who has an incredible marriage with her husband, and they're best of friends. And when I mentioned it to her, what our plan was, she kind of looked at me with wide eyes and said, I could never work with Brian. I couldn't. And I kind of poo-pooed it off like, oh, what are you talking about? We'll totally get along. And oh, wow.
I've seen a lot of husband and wives here. I've interviewed them. I've interviewed woman shop owners, and you're right. To a point, it's an exceptional relationship that makes it work.
Yes. And the communication has to be there, the openness and willingness to hear one another.
Do you have to be on the same page with everything? Yeah.
You do. And I learned pretty quickly that Sean is numbingly intelligent, but he's not as much of a people person as I am. And what I told all of my clients continuously, I'm a mediocre hairdresser, but I'm really great with people. That's what helped grow my clientele and very quickly in Las Vegas. And I was fortunate enough to work in San Francisco for a very high-end salon and working with very wealthy clientele, where I learned how to speak and treat people in the level of kind of expectation that a higher-end hair salon and stylist could draw.
I love that. This whole 2-day event with Elite is all about the customer experience.
Exactly.
I can't imagine what you're going to walk away with. In fact, you probably could teach one of the classes.
Maybe what not to do.
well, exactly right. You're a people person, but you also earned your wings.
Yes.
While you were learning. I mean, did someone teach you, or was it through osmosis you just learned?
It was both. The salon that I worked at was more so based out of New York, and we were the only kind of West Coast location. It's a very old name, Elizabeth Arden. The person that I worked under, Danielle Vila, was a very well-known hairstylist in San Francisco. He had moved back east with his family back home to be closer to his and his wife's parents, but his clients were literally flying to Pennsylvania to get their hair done because nobody could do what John did. So he started going back to San Francisco every 6 weeks, and we would starting at 8:00 Monday morning, and we would work 6 days straight, 4 chairs going, old San Francisco money people, families that owned very well-known clothing stores and clothing companies were flying in from outside of the country to see him. And, we were getting people ready for the ballet, for the opening of the ballet, the opera.
Well, I could see how people would do that. I mean, because hair is so intimate.
Yes. My first beauty school teacher told us day one, it's the only profession where you touch someone that you don't cause them pain or discomfort. And your hands are on them almost the entire time. And just the physical touch broaches a lot of comfort between people, which is really wonderful because they're a little bit more forgiving if you make a mistake or there's a misunderstanding in communication. But it can also be extremely draining at the end of a long day. I mean, when I would work with John, by Saturday, I would literally crawl down to the BART station, just absolutely exhausted.
Totally drained.
Drained in every way, physically, mentally, emotionally.
You're on for that entire time.
The entire time, because you're on stage, quote unquote. And that was one of the first lessons in that salon, was when you are not in the break room, you are on stage. When you are out downstairs, going to lunch, whatever, you will be running into your clients. You need to conduct yourself in a certain way.
This is so profound in my mind. I mean, I've learned something new after all these years on this earth, but I'm immediately turning it into what our service counters are like.
Yes. And
wow. I mean, you've got to be on.
You do. And it's really interesting because coming into this business, realizing that it is absolutely a male-dominated business. What I know, and I've been fortunate because of my husband, I haven't had to go into an independent automotive repair shop. He did everything on my car. I never even really had the repair experience within a dealership. And coming into the shop that we bought, because we didn't know Elite existed. And had we known Elite existed, we would have never bought the shop that we bought because, the books had been cooked and it was not what we were told it was.
You bring up such a great point. It's just too bad that 100% of people that decide to go into business don't do the proper research, even hire a coach and says, hey, would you walk down the aisle with me? I'm about ready to get married and buy this shop.
Didn't even know something like that existed. Again, because, Sean, before he was hurt, he was an electrician. Yeah. And I'd never even heard of a business coach. Never, life coach, but never heard.
So give me a timing line. You buy the business, the books were cooked, you weren't happy with it, to finding a coach. Was it a year or two?
I want to say it was about a year. We bought the business in May of 2018. And literally day one, when we got in there, we looked at each other and the level of panic that I knew I felt, and I'm pretty confident Sean felt, was indescribable.
Darren's your coach. Did you find a calmingness?
Yes. Every day until we finally agreed to make the investment that we didn't actually have. The business was not in any way, shape, or form making money. We were bleeding cash. What it felt like to me was bleeding cash. When we finally started working with Elite, going just even through the interview process where I realized they were interviewing us, we weren't interviewing with them. It triggered something in my brain to realize that this is not what I'm expecting, but it's better than I was hoping for.
Wow.
And the very first meeting where we got to speak to Kevin, Kevin is just this wild ball of energy and he gives you so much grace with your experience and makes you feel so comfortable. Yeah. And then meeting Darren, to say it was a breath of fresh air. It's my friend described it as we had been traversing the Sahara Desert since the day we bought the shop and Darren was a drink of water.
Carm here. The number one reason shop owners attend Apex is to see the very latest new products and technologies. In my opinion, a close second is the opportunity to meet face-to-face with people to discuss issues and new opportunities. Hey, let's not forget how much fun it is to get together with friends in the industry, both old and new. Apex is the one place to see all people, products, services, and technology that affect your business and your profits. Plus, you'll get to participate in the industry's best training while you're there. And don't forget the service professional-focused section Repair Shop HQ. Within this dedicated space, Joe's Garage brings the feel of a working shop to your Apex experience. Besides top training, you'll be in working bays and experiencing new tools, technology, and equipment firsthand. Mark your calendar now to attend Apex 2022, November 1st through the 3rd in Las Vegas. Keep in touch at aapexshow.com. Now, housing is already open, and registration will open May 2nd. Visit aapexshow.com. Hey, aren't you tired of being tired after a crazy day at the shop? Take the frustration out of your work by speeding up the processes that bog you down. Start a repair order based on a canned job. Check. Order parts from a menu that includes every supplier within seconds. Check. Now send all that information with photos or videos to a customer via a live chat on their phone. What? No, I'm not kidding. Check that box. Get an approval faster than ever so you don't tie up a bay for hours. Check. Hey, it gets even better. Once they see the summary of work they need next time, they ask you to fix 1 or 2 more items today. Boom, that bill goes up and you make more. Then, get this. They pay you on their phone before they even pick up their car. This could be your life, my friend. Talk to my friends at getshopware.com. One of the things that Danielle told me before we turned on the mics was so profound that you could not charge your customers in Las Vegas because you went to Las Vegas, you kept cutting hair.
Yes.
But you couldn't charge them what you needed to.
Yes.
And boy, does that ring true for our industry.
Yes. And it's interesting because something that we struggled with in our business, in our shop, was understanding the value of what we were providing for our customers. And the light clicked on for me when we started working with Darren, especially, that when I was a hairstylist, all my clients became very good friends of mine. I mean, some of them went to our wedding, and it just became so difficult when they wanted these drastic hair changes, my Asian client wanting to have very blonde hair. Well, that's going to take us probably 3 to 4 sessions, and you're looking at $800 to $1,000 per session. And I have to see you every 4 weeks for another $250.
Is this real? Is this true?
That's real. Absolutely.
Why is that? The pigment?
Yes, because dark hair, it's so time consuming, and to make sure that we do the job right, use the best products that we can, take care of the hair for long term.
Okay, now I think everyone knows I have a little gray hair. Just a little gray hair,
Just
right?
a little salt and pepper. Got a little
Danielle
salt and
might do
pepper.
some low lights in this hotel room. We have a sink and everything.
Someone told me a while back, this is maybe 10 years ago, I went to the person who was doing my hair at the time, and I said, should I put some Grecian in my hair? and she goes, buy it, bring it in, and I'll do it when you come in. And, we'll do it gradually.
Yes.
And I said, what happens when, guys come in and they get, all jet black, or they go completely from one to another?
It's terrible.
And she says, there's one thing you have to worry about. The hair color's got to match the wrinkles on the face.
That too.
But I see so many, of age women that have a solid, one particular color of hair. And you basically say to yourself, well, that's got to be dyed. And they probably go every couple of weeks.
It's a lot of maintenance.
Absolutely.
A lot of maintenance.
It's a lot to be a woman.
And it's a lot to trust your hairdresser.
Yes.
So here's these words: trust. Maintenance,
yes.
Charge what you need to.
Yep.
I mean, we've been always comparing our industry to the medical, but I'm telling you right now, it is the hair industry that you guys need to start looking at. The frustrating thing for me is the software issues. Everything is so archaic, and the scheduling. Hairdressers, really successful hairdressers, are working off of 2, 3, 4 chairs at the same time, and their schedule, they can pull up on the computer and they can look at what's coming in, who's here, when are they supposed to be done. The automotive industry does not do that. And yet we all know that really successful techs and shops, the techs have 2 lifts to themselves. So they're diagging on one lift and they're hanging parts on the other. That's how the efficiency is built in. But how do you do that when the scheduling system cannot accommodate that? Well, but it also is the art of scheduling and what we need to teach our service advisors, and the communications and the connectivity between the bays and the counter and ownership and customer.
Yes.
It's an art.
People do not take care of their cars, at least in Vegas, like they do their hair.
What?
Everybody, no. I mean, it's when I first started in Vegas doing hair, the manager of the salon I worked at, we sat down and she said, listen, I'm going to tell you one thing and one thing only. Do not let a customer tell you they don't have the money. They're going to walk in, they're going to throw their Bentley key on the counter. They're going to put their Louis Vuitton, their Hermes bag on the counter. And then they're going to complain that you're charging too much for a blow dry that they come in for 3 times a week so that they don't have to do their own hair.
What would you charge?
I mean, this was 10 years ago. It was, granted, those women had extensions, long hair, so $65 to $75.
3 times a week?
3 times a week.
For a blow dry?
Yes.
A blowout. Yep.
A blowout, it's called?
For somebody to wash their hair and blow dry it and style it.
Okay, just wash it. Okay.
Yeah.
Just make me look pretty.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to do it.
Exactly. But they would try to haggle with you a little bit over your color prices. And this very famous hairdresser who became a social media sensation and has kind of revolutionized a lot in the industry, he said, I tell my clients, when you're home with your husband and you get naked, your hair is the only thing that does not come off.
Oh my.
Invest in it. Yes. And but it's the same for the automotive industry. What I've seen is people want to drive the beautiful flashy cars, but when they call looking for a price quote because they're price shopping the brake job on their Range Rover and they're trying to find the best deal, it's like you drive a Range Rover, that doesn't work. There is no deal on a Range Rover. Do you really want to go to Supercuts and get your hair done? Or do you want to go to, a master hair colorist?
Because I know your hair.
Yes.
And I know you.
Exactly.
And I know your car.
And I know what you need more than you do.
That's right.
And that sounds almost condescending, but it is true.
No.
People do not know. And the internet has changed things a little bit. People call us all the time. I've got this problem. I looked it up online and this is what it told me. So can you replace this camshaft position sensor?
Yeah, right.
And it's like, we can, but I can't stand behind that. And so we won't do it.
Well, it's soapbox time. I don't know. Every time I hear this, I go get my soapbox and says, why are you Googling that?
Right.
I'm your Google.
Exactly.
Me.
Right.
Call me.
Yes. And it can be a little bit of a battle and you win some and you lose some. But when the customer comes in, it all starts with setting the expectation and setting the standard for them, what they need to understand, why it is worth paying us our diagnostic fee. Because my technician is an ASE certified master technician. He has $40,000 to $50,000 in tools that he has had to invest in. Again, the only industry that I know of that your employees have to put that kind of investment into their job.
Yeah.
They have 15 years experience and he is the best technician in this city. We will figure it out for you. It might be that camshaft position sensor, but if it's not, we will have saved you $400 or $500 that you would have had to spend again and again for somebody to
put it in and then find the next problem.
Exactly.
Put it in, find the next problem.
Right.
Issues facing the industry.
Obviously, staffing issues. When we bought our shop, we had no idea. We'd never worked in a shop before. I worked for a carburetor remanufacturing plant in Northern California for a year before I met my husband. He is
Did you say carburetor?
Carburetor.
Just checking.
Yep. It was called Recarbco.
Okay.
And Sean had worked at a parts store and he worked at a stereo installer for a while before joining a skilled trade union in San Francisco. And we walked in, and when we were having the negotiations and the conversations with the business owner that we purchased the shop from, he sold his technicians as the best. He'd been in the industry for 50 to 60 years. You will never find a better tech than so-and-so. This man has been with me for this many years and he's incredible. Day one, Sean came in with this look on his face and he said, I can't say what I want to say. There was a meme that was floating around from the girl with the curly hair on Ozarks. I don't know blank about blank. That was kind of what he conveyed to me. They don't know what they're talking about. They're wrong. And this is coming from somebody who has never wrenched for a living, but that's the level of knowledge and skill that he has for repair.
Too bad he didn't interview them before the deal.
Yes. Yeah. And we weren't allowed to. Yeah.
Warning sign.
Yeah. Well, and I can understand being a business owner now if we wanted to sell our business.
Yeah, they were trying to keep it as private as they possibly could. I get that.
Not rock the boat.
Wow,
but that would be my first piece of advice. If you're looking to buy a shop, you better talk to those technicians and the service advisors. Yes. Then trying to go through the hiring process where we had no contacts. We knew nobody in Vegas that was in this industry. We knew nobody in the industry. I had an uncle who had owned a shop, but it was for semi-diesel repair, in Las Vegas, different beast altogether, and not the same kind of shopping experience that we wanted to have. He's truck drivers and stuff. I realized how there is just nobody. It feels like when you're a shop owner, and every shop owner in this country is probably experiencing the same thing. I need techs. I have a friend who runs a service counter for a high-end dealership in town, and he has a $10,000 sign-on bonus for a technician.
Wow.
And they're willing to train. Can't get it, not a single resume. Working with Darren and starting to learn the questions I needed to ask, that we needed to ask, as I, knew nothing about, I still to this day don't know how to change a flat tire. But
that's okay.
I mean, it's okay as long as I don't get a flat on by myself.
But you can recommend a good color for me, right?
You're exactly right. I'll the perfect shampoo. Absolutely. Bring out all the beautiful silver in your hair. But,
glistening.
I didn't know it could be beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes. Yes. You need a little purple in there. Yeah.
And so to our listener, thank you for traveling down this little side road with
meandering
us.
Lord path. But in starting to interview and starting to actually build a reputation with our business to try and draw the right people to come and work for us, I realized that your employees are choosing to work for you. We do not have the luxury of selecting from a number of candidates. We're not the .com where there's lots of tech people who are, vying for different positions. You might get one or two resumes that come across your desk or, through Indeed, through your computer, that you get excited about and hopeful about. And then you sit and talk with them. And then that's where it really starts, where you're trying to figure out, are they who they represent themselves to be? Do they actually know what they think they know? Hopefully they choose you to come work for, because they're interviewing, what Darren told me from the beginning, the best techs are interviewing you. They are looking you up on Facebook. They're looking at your website. All of these touch points from an employee standpoint are equally as important as the touch points from your consumer and your customer.
That's right. The best techs are going to come in with a list of questions that you need to answer for them.
Yes.
They're making a decision on you, not you on them.
Exactly. Yeah. And, when you're a small shop, like Sean always says, we're too big to stay the same size we are and we're too small to grow. Where I want to bring in more techs and more service advisors so that I can start really providing a better life for our employees, where they get retirement, where they have stellar health benefits. But all small business owners know the challenges we face. It's exorbitantly expensive. The thing that I still struggle with understanding is how there are so many technicians who don't want to work in a corporate environment. They don't want to work at a dealer, even though financially it might be better for them. They want to feel like they have a voice, like they're important, like they're heard. We all need to start coming from a place of these people are our family. We have to take care of them and they will take care of us and thereby take care of our customers.
It seems to me, Danielle, that we are getting the message through to shop owners that you need to step up.
Yes.
You cannot listen to your people and not do, just like you said, and you have to build a great culture because the employee today is getting more sophisticated in the needs that they want for themselves, their family, their future, their career.
Yes. And Bob Cooper was the first person that kind of explained it to me how there's such a lack of respect for technicians in the industry, right? You're a mechanic or you're a tech. Doctors study the human body. The body doesn't change really, but every year cars change dramatically. From 5 years ago, look at the changes and the technological advancements in vehicles. And technicians are expected to have the tools, find the knowledge, and do the job really well and efficiently. And God forbid if they make a mistake.
Embrace the technician as one of the most important parts of our business, for without them and their knowledge, give them a career path, provide the training, pay for it, get them, be it online or leader led. The shops that are struggling, they may be struggling because their marketing may not be right. They may not have the right culture, but I think it still goes down to if they don't have really good techs, they're not producing really good work,
right?
Which means you can't sustain your business.
Right. And then front side, the service advisor, your service advisor, they are the face of your business. And I worked as the service advisor until we were at a place where we could hire one. People still come in looking for me 2.5, 3 years later. Where's Danielle? Oh, well, she's in her office. And there's a couple of customers who still will only deal with me directly. But again, that's creating that touch point, that relationship and rapport where someone feels like they are being taken care of.
So would you ever put a hairdresser's chair in the business?
Listen, that was all I heard. I will come and I'll get my oil changed while you're doing my color. And if it wasn't so loud and the bangs and the noises, and I'll be honest, obviously the conversation is a little bit more colorful than even I like sometimes. If it wasn't for that, I would. The beauty of where we're located in our little complex, there's a fabulous hair salon that's in the same complex and a nail salon. So it's not out of the ordinary to have a customer come drop his wife off at the salon and then, I'll be back when her nails are done.
Yeah. Do you miss it?
I do.
Wow.
Do you do any on the side?
Just 2 clients who are, some of my best friends. And one of my clients became one of my best friends, was in my wedding. Another client is just one of my very best friends and supported me and us through this entire ordeal. One of them is a nurse. And, especially through the pandemic, I would do anything for her. She was an ICU nurse. And watching what she went through and she experienced, you have to take care of people. And then my other friend is a school teacher and same thing. The challenges that they faced, it's like, whatever I can do to help you feel a little bit better.
Yeah. You've shared an awful lot of life's lessons with us. Anything that we missed?
I'm almost afraid that this is going to come off like we're just this wildly successful shop. We're not. Every day is a struggle for us. And all of these things that I'm talking about that I feel are so imperative to creating the shop that everybody, I think, dreams of. We're nowhere near that. I don't have time in my day to do the things that I want to do because I'm still building, I'm still growing, and I'm still looking for my next technician. I'm still looking to find who my next service advisor is. How do we continue to grow, stay profitable, provide a really healthy work-life balance for our employees, because it is such an incredibly draining job. Service advisors, I'm sorry, I don't think they have enough respect in this industry from shop owners. I think, the technician shortage is what everybody talks about, but your service advisor, wow. And what we tried to do in our shop, and when Sean kind of stepped back and I think started to let me take control of, understanding how we have to value what we do, the service that we provide. If you come in my front office, it doesn't look like an automotive shop. The desk is beautiful. It's very welcoming. I don't want my service advisor or service advisors wearing any kind of a uniform. They're human beings and they're people, and I want them to feel confident and comfortable when they're there. And I think women need to be at the front.
It's amazing the parallels that I have just discovered after all these years to hairdressing.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've heard a lot in the podcast. Hospitality is a great, the pull from that, but hair salon, that's the new frontier.
Because we know how to have that uncomfortable financial conversation about, it may not be what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear.
Yeah, I used to do the blow dry. What's it called again?
Blowout.
A blowout for 65, but it's going to be 75 from now on. Are you killing me? You're killing me. Right?
I mean, like I said, you can go down the street, but you'll be back.
Yeah, you can go to Supercuts.
Yeah.
Charlie's.
Nothing wrong with Supercuts, but
my takeaway from what you just said is that you know that you're not a top shop.
Yeah.
And that's a humbling thing, but that also drives you.
Yes.
Doesn't it?
Yes.
You can't hide behind your ego and say, I'm phony in the world every day. I have the right, I've got the charade that I'm playing. Hey, I have a coach. I need help. I'm not perfect. And every day I strive for something better. One day, my people, our customers, our systems, our processes, we're working on all of that. It's a constant work in progress.
Continuous. And I failed to mention, because it just dawned on me when you were speaking, that I had a client who was a business coach. She was a business coach. And when I started talking to her about us thinking about hiring one, she looked at me and she said, Danielle, I have always had a business coach. No matter how good or how far you have come, what you've achieved, you always need somebody to not only cheerlead you, but to hold you accountable, because human beings are pretty terrible at holding themselves accountable and being honest with themselves. I will never not have a coach. As long as I own a business, I will never not have a coach.
We have a great one right now.
I know, he is the bee's knees.
Somehow Tracy just loves Darren, and
he is the best.
I met him for the first time at ASTE last year, and that was my first industry event. Yeah. And we had a great episode with him. And he actually said something to me directly during the episode. I don't even remember. And I chimed in. I didn't have a microphone in front of me. And I was like, and so that was really technically my first time being on the podcast.
Oh, wow.
And then we saw him again at Apex. And he was the first one to say, hey, I want to take a picture with you. Me? Yeah. Usually it's Carm. He's like, no. I want a picture with you too. And so I was like, oh, wow.
It's great. Yeah.
He's a remarkable human being. Him and Ginger both are just incredible people.
Power couple.
Yeah, and then we interviewed Ginger and Darren.
That was great. That was a wonderful episode.
Please look that one up, Ginger and Darren Barney, and check that out. Yeah. And of course, thank you so much, Danielle Vila.
Thank you for having me.
Red Rock Repair, Las Vegas. Great story.
Thank you.
We need to have you back because you're inspiring.
Well, we're going to be in Vegas next month for the Napa Expo.
Let's do it.
Whoa.
You're going to have some purple in your hair.
Not purple in your hair, just purple shampoo.
Oh, okay.
It counteracts the warmth that the sun brings to white hair.
Okay, TMI.
We'll do it. You won't even know, but you'll look at yourself and think, wow, I look amazing.
Hey, thanks for carving out some time in your schedule.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much, Danielle.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time.